This is One on One. Brandon Dirden is performing in All the Way on Broadway. It is at the Neil Simon Theater on 250 West 52nd Street. This is a story of the first year of Lyndon Baines Johnson, year in office, 1964. It is leading up to the signing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and you play the great Dr. Martin Luther King. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me, Steve.
And who's the other guy who plays Lyndon Johnson? What's his name?
Oh, yeah, you know, I forget all the time.
That's not the Cranston guy, is it?
That's it. You got it. Bryan Cranston.
How good is he?
Cranston.
How good is he?
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Not bad, no.
We were joking before we got on. You have to carry him every night.
Yeah, you know, I got to tell him to lay off the snacks because it's getting a little heavy to carry.
Why was he born to play that role? Before we see the clip of the two of you, Johnson and Dr. King, talking about the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which is, we're celebrating actually the 50th anniversary of that
That's
act.
right.
Why was he born to play that role?
Well, Bryan, from what we saw in the Breaking Bad, has the ability to be absolutely terrifying and charismatic at the same time, and he's just a whip-smart actor. And Johnson was famous for his Johnson treatment, and it involved and encompassed all those elements. And oddly enough, you don't see a bit of Walter White, you know, Bryan's character from Breaking Bad in this. You see completely Johnson. But he just loses himself nightly in this performance, and it's an amazing thing to watch.
Ready to take a clip? We'll take a look at the clip?
Let's do it.
This is Johnson and Dr. King. Powerful stuff.
We're going to declare a war on poverty, and by God, we're going to beat it.
A war on poverty?
That's right. I got all kinds of federal programs in mind on health, education, literacy, jobs, you name it. We're going to change this country, top to bottom.
Well, that sounds extraordinary.
There you go.
But right now, I need to be able to go back to my people and tell them that this president is committed to civil rights, and that this bill, even without voting rights, will still be a strong bill with no further changes. If I can't do that, I will lose their faith, and in their despair, I don't know what will happen.
So Dr. King understood politics as well.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about it.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a great thing about this play. Robert Schenken has created a side of Dr. King that we don't get to see very often. You know, we get the I Have a Dream speech, and we'll get his I've Been to the Mountaintop speech. But Dr. King knew that it wasn't just speeches that was going to evoke change. So he was president of the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and he was the face of the Civil Rights Movement. But there were other factions of the movement that had to be organized in order to present a unified, you know, position to the president.
And there were many in that movement who thought that Dr. King was not strident enough.
Oh, yeah. Stokely Carmichael really felt that Dr. King was much too passive. And so we got great scenes in the play where we see King working with Stokely and having to juggle so many balls in the air about what position we're going to take and what position we're going to present to the president and how we're going to apply the pressure. See, Dr. King knew that Kennedy had made all these promises and never made good on them. And this window of change is shrinking and it's closing and closing and closing. And so when Johnson announces to the country that he's going to make civil rights a priority, all right, we got to go. We got to hold his feet to the fire.
Let's be clear, because Kennedy is assassinated on November 22nd, 1963. Johnson takes over, obviously, immediately.
That's right.
And the country is unified in this certain fashion.
That's right.
And also, it's interesting, is because Kennedy is killed in Dallas, not insignificant.
That's right.
Not insignificant. Without getting too deep into it, there is this window, and Johnson has the country together.
Yeah.
If it hadn't happened in 1964, Johnson gets reelected overwhelmingly, beats Barry Goldwater in a landslide. What is Johnson's mandate, particularly after Vietnam starts taking over the country? You can't be doing two things at once.
Not at all. Not at all. And which is so interesting, I think Johnson, more than anything, what I'm learning about him is that he just wanted to be effective. And so if this was on the agenda from when he was vice president, he felt a sincere responsibility and need to get it done. You know, a lot of people question, was he sincere? Did he really, if he had been elected instead of Kennedy, you know, if he had been the president, would he have made it a priority? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, nothing coming from the state of Texas said that he had to make it a priority.
That's right.
Certainly. So what I love about what we see about Johnson is that his desire to be effective and to finish the job, finish what got started.
For you, your research into Dr. King,
Yeah.
what did it mean to you personally?
I think everybody involved in this show should probably get college credit for maybe a master's in American history here, certainly in the civil rights era. There are large amounts of information that I thought I knew already, and this play exposed me. It said that you don't even know half of what you need to know. You didn't know this man, Dr. King, even though we went to the same college. I went to Morehouse's alma mater. It says, you did not really know the courage that this man had. How many years of his life did he live with death threats, ever since the Montgomery bus boycott? To get up every day and put yourself in the line of fire, literally, for a decade after that.
So it's interesting when Malcolm X is assassinated, literally not too far away from where we're doing this program right now, in the Audubon Ballroom, right?
That's right.
1965.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Does it become more clear to King how close to death he is?
Yeah, I think King knew. At some point, I mean, we hear in his last speech in Memphis, we hear, he says...
With the garbage man strike?
That's right, the last recorded speech. And he says, I may not have longevity. Of course, I would want longevity. But it may not be for me. And I think he knows. I think he certainly has a premonition, and he's come to terms with it. It sounds like in his voice and in his speech and the content of his speech. And he gave us a gift with that last speech. Say, if I depart soon, and we know he did.
I may not get there with you.
I may not get there with you, right? But I'm leaving you this. And that speech is full of hope. It's full of courage. It's an outline. He talks about how to implement change next in terms of economic boycotting. He gives us strategy. If you just pick this up, this is how we're going to get to the goal line.
Is it fair to say that without Dr. King, there's a very good chance, it is likely that the 1964 Civil Rights Act would not have happened?
It's more than the chance. It is certain that it would not happen. It is absolutely certain. I believe that.
So interesting. Tell people why they should go see this play.
You can't miss it. I think this play, what it does better than any other play on Broadway today, certainly, and any other play that I've been involved with or seen in many, many years, is that this is an American story. And not this, what happens in this play could happen in no other country. This is a byproduct of what happens when you have the greatest country on the earth and its ideals and its principles, when it's forced to answer to it and to take a look and say, have we lived up to the promises of our founding fathers? Where are we? And this is the period, 1963, 1964, is the most critical point in American history that says, are we honoring our promises as a nation? And this play, within a 3-hour period, it's such a roller coaster ride of humor, of passion, of heart. Even though you know what's going to happen, you're on the edge of your seat to find out how it's going to happen. And beyond that, it's some pretty good acting. Yeah.
And that guy, Bryan Cranston, good thing you're helping him out.
I think he has a future. It's his debut, but I think he has a pretty solid debut in this one.
So you got a great future as well, performing in All the Way at the Neil Simon Theater right here in the heart of Broadway, along with Bryan Cranston. A great story, a powerful story, the 50th anniversary of the signing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which changed this country for the better. You're playing Dr. Martin Luther King. Everyone should go out and see it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Honor us by being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Stay with us. We'll be right back from Lincoln Center right after this. Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Virtua, NJIT, New Jersey Natural Gas, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, TD Bank, and by the New Jersey Education Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.